So after a McLaren 1-2 in Bahrain and a Williams podium, we now head to China, Shanghai, for round number 2 of the season and also our second appearance at the circuit. We ran here at the penultimate round of Season 1 Tier 3 earlier on this game cycle, but now we come here for trip number 2 at the track in Tier 3, and it's time to see who is going to start their championship challenge tonight. It looked like Alex Norris did so in qualifying last week, getting Ferrari's first pole in over a season. It was actually this race last time their last pole was before last week. But the McLaren showed in the race last week with the 1-2, their first 1-2 in Tier 3, that they are the ones to beat. And we're going to find out if that stays true tonight. I'm your commentator, Ryan Searles, and alongside me, as an in-race reporter tonight, and co-com until we get to the race, is Beatnik. It is good to have you, Beatnik. The last time you commentated a China race in RPL was back in Season 8, where there were about 2-3 different collisions off the start. You had turn 1 when they went 4 wide, and then you had down at the exit of turn 10, which led to 3 cars out of the race. And in fact, speaking of 3 cars out of the race, Beatnik, that's how many we had here in the Season 1 running. Only 3 cars out of the race. It's good to have you. Welcome back. And you're racing as well.
It's great to be back. It's been a long time coming. Of course, I raced last week. We saw how that went. As regards to the previous China race I commentated, it was on the 22 game cycle, and it was a fun one. I remember it quite well. Having fun with it, but we're here on 24. New game cycle, still getting used to these cars, but should have some fun today.
You finished P4 last week in the Red Bull. You mentioned kind of getting saved with the safety car. That race was quite tame for most of it, I want to say. You guys had that big P8 battle, F1 Shorts, Valk, and yourself. But you all took a big advantage of that safety car at the end with big results. Of course, after the safety car happened, a little stack up on the restart allowed Valk to get some places, which allowed her to get the podium. Polish and Mythic crashed in front of you. Alex Norris had the penalty. We had a lot going on in that race last week, and a good result for you. Even though you were in the second fastest car, you were not going to finish in that kind of spot.
Oh, yeah. Just, I don't really know how to reply. It's just so much. I'm sorry, I'm paying attention. I got a call from my team principal, so I might end up getting called back to Sauber for this Grand Prix, depending on how things go. So, which honestly, for me personally, that would be my best case scenario. I need to get used to this game. I'm still not used to it whatsoever, and it showed in both races last week that I did. So when I get into this game, hopefully, the faster I will get, and maybe I can build my speed back. But
that would be great. It would be great. It would be.
Believe me, it would be.
Well, we had Lyral Fusion, part of the McLaren 1-2. He won. We had trying to think of what else. We had Neski second, and like I said already, Valkyrie third. So we'll go over the standings in a moment, but I kind of want to know now, based on what we saw last week, Beatnik, what do we expect for tonight? If you want my thoughts, at least before you go ahead, we have Spangley in the Red Bull tonight, who didn't race last week. We have Timbet, who didn't race last week. So really, for the people we didn't really get to see too much of in Bahrain, we now get to see now what they are capable of, and I'm happy to see that. As for Alex Norris, I expect him to bounce back and have better strategy this time to see if he really can put the championship hunt in the back of his mind compared to what happened last week when he bottled the strategy.
Well, he wasn't the only one that bottled the strategy. I myself also had problems with that. But you want my thoughts? I still think McLaren are going to be the team to beat. From what I saw last week, Neski and Fusion have some serious pace in what is the fastest car in the grid. So look out for them to break out of the gates early. And Alex Norris, you said it too. He got some serious pace in Ferrari, and regarding that he doesn't pull a Ferrari strategy, he should be it. And as regards to Polish, I think he has a chance this week, but all he has to do is stay out of trouble. I was around him
Really
throughout the
does.
race, and he has the pace. He just has to keep out of trouble, and if he does that, I think he'll be just fine.
Well, I'll tell you right now, F1 Schwartz could take his seat if he doesn't stay out of trouble in continuous races upcoming. F1 Schwartz got Haas their best finish since Spa last season, with Fusion, in fact. The only other time they've been inside the top five. And I also want to mention the other heartbreak from last week, El Mythic. He was running P3 after Alex Norris battled the strategy, but got taken out in the closing stages of the race, which really, if there was no safety car for Mythic's case, he actually would have ended up on the podium because he was at least, I think, 6 seconds, maybe 5 seconds ahead of the next car, and also the McLarens, who were 1-2, were like 10 seconds clear of the pack. So we have a lot to look forward to for tonight's event. I know you guys are wondering, and I know I've been asked this already by GTKF1 fan. I did not tell everybody, but I am commentating with a keyboard tonight. So we'll tell you more about that throughout the qualifying session. I'm trying to get used to it so I can understand some things for later on in the season, maybe apply it then. Speaking of the season, I will not be making F2, so we're trying to find a commentator there. So if you want to promote that idea to Egg or George, please do so, because I really am saddened by the fact that I cannot make those races, but it is what it is. I just work during then, so can't do anything about it. Let's go over the standings. As we already know, Fusion, Neski, Valk, that's 1, 2, 3 in the championship, like they finished in Bahrain. No surprise there. Beatnik is 4th in the championship. We'll talk to him about that in a moment. But what I really want to talk about is the big surprise in the Constructors' Championship. McLaren lead the way. We know that. They have quite a hefty margin. But Williams sit 2nd. Red Bull sit 3rd. Haas sit 4th. Beatnik, that's great stuff for those two teams, Williams and Haas, who that might be the biggest tally they get in one race throughout the whole entire season. They needed a result like that, and they did get it last week. So we'll see how they take advantage of that throughout the course of the season.
And I would know a thing or two about big results in those bad cars, which I have no idea what the performance level is of any of these cars in this game. Still too new. But I know, especially for the case of the Williams, that is a monstrous result for them, and they can easily build on that throughout the rest of the season. You got Max and the Williams today, I can tell from this pre-lobby, and I don't see another one, so rip. But you never know. This tier 3 could be chaos.
Right, exactly. And this race was kind of like that last season at some points of the race. A big battle for 2nd for most of the race. You had Patrick and SV both collide as well. SV started on the pole that day. We're getting into short qualifying. We're going to talk about our headlines coming up, but the Williams is 9th fastest, slowest at some circuits, but not a lot. And the Haas is 7th fastest, right behind the V-Carb, right alongside that Alpine. So we're getting into what is short qualifying. And let's go over our headlines. Invade, speaking about the Haas, he's alongside F1 Shorts tonight. Invade could actually become the all-time highest scoring driver in Tier 3 in terms of points. He just needs 5 points to tie it. He'll need 6 points to get it. Now, when it comes to the rest of the field, Drift King, he's got a season ban due to his heroics in Bahrain, crashing out on purpose. He has left the league, so his Mercedes seat is open. Optical, he left the league. He was a reserve driver. I believe he's a friend of Drift King, so that does kind of make sense. His reserve seat has been voided. And Cam, the Ferrari previous assistant for the Academy, is no longer the Academy assistant. Minico replaces him. And Beatnik, he worked with the Mercedes Academy as the assistant a while ago. I think it's a good thing to see him there with where he is at, and good opportunity for him to do a little bit more now in that academy.
Yeah, there's a lot to work with in the Mercedes Academy. They got a lot of really solid cars on this game cycle. So,
Whoa!
Whoa. I see that car off the track. Oh dear. Who was
We're
that?
already hitting the grass.
Max?
Yep, he hit the grass out of the, beginning of the snail section, turn 1 there. That was a little jump scare.
Jump scare. Oh dear. I can give a quick weather rundown if you want.
Okay.
So qualifying should remain dry, and at the race, there is a very, very tiny chance of rain at the very end. We'll probably see some clouds roll in the closing laps, as it says at plus 60 minutes, we might see some rain. But,
So, what does it say for 45 minutes in?
9% chance, but it shows the rain clouds.
Okay, so that means if we get a safety car, we have a chance for it. If we don't, we likely won't. So that's how I read it, at least.
So what I'm hearing is the enters on a dry track strategy from Season 7 Belgium. That's what I get.
Maybe. Well, we do have laps getting started here very soon, and I do want to clarify for what SV mentioned in the chat. Is it George who has the most points in Tier 3 or Uri? I don't know. To clarify, it is George who has the most points, then followed after that by Invade. Behind Invade for second, is then Uri in third. Turbo in fourth, and Mythic, the 5th highest, right there. We're going to watch the, maybe the 2nd highest surprise, maybe 3rd highest surprise of last week. Definitely the up-and-coming driver, we could say for sure, F1 Shorts. He currently is starting a lap right here, and we're going to ride on board with him in the Haas and find out what he can do as he's now going through the ending bit of Sector 1. This is right around where you want to be in none, I want to say, or get out of being in none, just because your ERS in the snail section is really where you can save as much as you can. He'll be approaching a Williams. That Williams has got to get out of his way. Is that Max, or is that someone else? It is Max. Now going through the double left, F1 Short still has a car in his way, and he's still got to get out of the way there unless they're both on laps. That's going to be the tricky thing, as with the Williams backed off, he has backed off on the lap, so F1 Short's getting caught out here by the Williams on the lap. Going to cost him some time. Now, down the back straight, DRS applied. He'll use some of that battery, but really, Beatnik, I know you're coming out on track for a lap here. You know, being blocked like that, as here comes the Williams down the inside of him, actually, it just seems like a lost cause here, regardless of using battery.
That's happening directly behind me right now, so I'm starting my lap at the moment, and
scary sights.
That shenanigans is happening directly behind me, so that Williams might be in a bit of trouble.
I'm sure he will be. Debuting driver, we'll talk about drivers on loans and drivers missing in a little bit, but we have laps being set. Polish, Timbed, and now Lyral Fusion, fastest of them all. The next Mercedes is Valkyrie, who had the great result last week for Williams, 4th fastest. B-Nick, I'm going to head to you now, and we're going to talk about your lap here. Now, we're going down into turn 6, a little wiggle wobble right there, but that's a corner I think we're going to see a lot of overtaking opportunities in tonight. Overtake button on use, and B-Nick, you know, I hope you don't mind me talking to you on your lap, but you didn't even know that you could put ERS on and change it in qualifying last week. I guess, what do you kind of do here in this section now?
Yeah, I didn't know that was ever a thing until now, so I just switched between hot and medium here. Still getting used to these cars. The traction is one of the most important things here, especially going through these low traction control corners. Poor English. Use a bit of overtake, have the DRS wide open through this very long straight. Careful not to lock up.
I just want to clarify, he ended up mentioning to us in Twitch chat what happened to him. We did catch that on stream. Beatnik coming across the line to be the 13th different driver to complete a lap. He will be 10th fastest. 5 places behind teammate Mythic, but 4/10 off of him. Not too bad right there. We've got Alex Norris on a lap right now. We're going to go on board with him because I think he is coming into the pit lane because he invalidated, and that is correct. Not too hard to invalidate around here, but a lot more frequent than Bahrain, it's safe to say, Beatnik.
You would be surprised how many invalidations you can get around here. I remember back to the Season 8 race, if my memory serves me right, the Chiller didn't get a single valid lap in one of his qualifying sessions, and it caused him to get eliminated. So, it is entirely possible to invalidate, especially through this part that I'm going through now. You could extend the bit there, but you could also extend right there as I demonstrate. So, don't worry, it was intentional. And right here, really tough to get on the power. I'm in none, so not a problem.
Don't touch that inside curb. Just an FYI. Don't.
Oh, yeah. Trust me, that's been a death curb all these years. I remember dying on that curb in a career mode race in like 2017. I
think Mally lost the podium on it, I think back in Season 4, I want to say, F1.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that clip. Long time ago.
There's also a Tier 2 race here on the last lap where I think it was... We're going to see a fight down the back straight with DRS applied and everything. And we didn't because I think it was Stenner who was trying to fight for the victory in Tier 2 at the time. Just lost it on that curb. So it's not unordinary to lose it on the curb. You're either going to have trouble in traction zones, trouble on the curbs, or do what Leon Miner just did and go out of bounds right there out of turn 10. I don't think he was on a lap, though. Actually, he was on a lap to try and improve. He didn't have a good first run, so he will go again. Let's talk about our drivers on loan, missing, or reserves. Alistair and Zora, 2 kick subbers, will be joining mid-qualifying, I've heard. But Tim Bed missed last week. He's here now for Mercedes. Valkyrie in the Mercedes. Maddie debuted last week. He's in the Alpine. JNR was in the Red Bull last week. We're going to have to tell Owen to fix the standings right there because he hasn't put in a V-carb for last week's event. He was in the Red Bull. Second Red Bull, that was. He is in the V-carb tonight. Beatnik and the Aston, we already mentioned that. Invade reserving on the Aston. Not full-time this season. Max, I believe it's his debut. He's in the Williams. Noah Boy couldn't race last week, although he entered in the event. So he is here this week. Spangley was not here last week, but he's not raced in Tier 3 full-time since the first season. So he is back in for Red Bull, and we would be getting Devin in his second Red Bull, but I don't know if he is coming in. We have Lightning McQueen in the chat saying, guys, can I join Tier 3? Well, we have a link on, I believe, the description or something from our Twitch and YouTube, so if you want to join, you can do so there. Meanwhile, we'll go on board with Alex Norris to start this lap. And Beatnik, I must say, based on what we've seen so far from this guy, 2 Italian teams he's been a part of, technically 3 different teams, but, you know, Red Bull Academy, he got the chance in main Red Bull. V-carb, he got that 1 win with them last season in Brazil in that chaotic race. That was a race you probably should go back and watch on the RPL YouTube. And now a pole sitter for Ferrari. I think this guy is probably going to be one of the only ones that can put the fight to McLaren if there's anybody.
He is a quick guy. I mean, from what I saw last week, he was keeping up with them, and he just ran away from the rest of the field, just tailing those McLarens. He is a really quick guy, and I also want to mention Hyper in his Alpine. He also had some really good pace last week. I know he's only in P9 at the moment, but you never know.
You do really never know. Second sector complete for Alex Norris as he goes into the long right-hander. Overtake applied from the Ferrari man, and DRS will be applied in just a few moments' time. It is now. Beatnik, I believe you're starting a lap. You are. We'll get to you after that. And we'll take us through a lap of China. Zora's finally joined us for the 18th driver in the Kicksauber. Now Alex Norris will use some battery coming out of the hairpin there. To the final corner we go. It's tricky to not invalidate through here, or at least hit the inside curb and lose it. Alex Norris, fastest, 30.4. F1 Shorts with a big improvement. He's up to 4th. We have Beatnik on the lap now, a 10th up as he comes to the middle sector, and we're gonna ride on board with him. We're not gonna let him speak during his lap. We're gonna talk about it ourselves. Left, then right. You want to be very careful on these curbs. A difference in gear here, 5th, 4th, 3rd. I think you can really get away with turn 7 and turn 8 in ERS being in none. This is where you want to use it now. Use a little. He uses a little bit. 2/10 up on the time. Right now, this would put him 9th or 8th maybe. But as we always know, you got to complete the lap and you got to find a way to make sure it all counts at the end. Overtake applied here. Still got a lot of battery left coming down the back straight. DRS going to be applied. We have a car that just crossed the line to improve. Neski's the next one. He's 5th. Fusion, I think, should be next as well. He might be starting one. Now we go to the hairpin. Heavy braking. No ERS online for Beatnik. Trying to just conserve some to go to the final corner and then use it all. You probably should have deployment used here right before the line. We'll see if he does. One last corner. DRS applied. And he will go 7th fastest. Leapfrogging Mythic and Valkyrie Beatnik does.
That wasn't half bad. I feel like I made a few small mistakes there on that lap. Just some minor corrections, but overall, I'm actually kind of surprised this car does not feel that bad. Honestly, it feels better than the Red Bull I drove last week. But that could be a setup issue.
Probably.
So.
Now, Lyro Fusion, lot of trouble on the lap right there, losing the rear constantly. We also had a bit of lag encounter on that lap as well. He had 23.7 in the first sector. We couldn't really see what that was in the second sector. He's actually down 4/10 because of the mistake. He might get a little tow from his teammate, but Devin, our 19th driver, does join us. He is going to be in the second Red Bull. Lyro Fusion is getting a bit of slipstream assistance from his teammate, but I'm not sure if that's going to help or not due to the mistake he made there down at turn 10. Yeah, so Beatnik, I want to just say the big thing I've noticed in terms of ERS is everyone does risk almost running out of deployment coming to the line. That's been a big thing on laps. But as Devin does join us, as I look through right around where Noah Boy is coming through, this is kind of where you want, which is sector 1 here. This is kind of where you want to put on some hot lap here. And then I want to say you can get away with having no ERS on line in 7 and 8, which Leon is now approaching. So I think the big thing on laps here that we do notice in terms of where the overtake does get used, down to turn 11, a little bit on the back stretch. You probably want to keep it on hot lap. And then probably down toward, I think it's turn 6 maybe. The hairpin there where Ricardo dive bomb Bottas. I feel like all those places are helpful corners for you. Beatnik, our early supporter,
I mean,
of course.
I'm using hot lap like 90% of the time. I'm still old school that way. I don't understand the whole overtake and the hot lap thing. It's just going to take some getting used to for me personally. It is a really neat feature, I will admit. But it does have, there's a lot of strategy involved in it, and that's probably the hardest part, trying to figure out where the best parts to use are and where the worst parts are. Me personally, the only part I drop into none was in the hairpin corners. Other than that, I'm pretty much in hot lap the entire time.
Gotcha. So, you were talking about the Alpine who had great pace last week. He is up to 11th, just leapfrogging his teammate. Alistair joins in as the 20th runner in here. And I believe it was the 3rd running of China in Tier 2 that we ended up seeing Alistair race in China. Hyper just cut the corner just to get back to the pit lane in time. We're going to see if anyone does submit that. Not allowed there in the RPL rulebook. I do see some people wanted to join.
Mally rulebook.
Yeah, Mally rulebook, yeah. I do see some people wanted to join in the Twitch chat. You're welcome to join, but I'll tell you right now, I'm not the owner. So it's not up to me. And yeah, We have now final laps starting. Alex Norris, I believe, is our first one. 2.5 minutes remaining. You already see in the snail section, 85% on that ERS. Using hot lap through it, though, but still conserving a lot of battery. That's the interesting thing I find in that that snail section. Now 9,000's up in the time. Our current pole sitter looking to go back to back. Give us your prediction in the chat, folks. We have 2 minutes remaining in qualifying. Who do we think is going to be on pole right now? We have 4 different teams inside that top 4. Turn 7, turn 8 right now for the Ferrari. Now, using a bit of the curbs here, trying to find out if he can gain a bit of time here to the sector split. Now to the sector split he'll come. He is gaining time. 48,000's up, and this could set him almost half a second out of the whole entire field when he completes the lap. If he does complete the lap, good enough. Now, long right-hander, overtake on use, puts it back to hot lap. 45% left on that ERS. We're going to see how that all changes when he crosses the line. Alex Norris was on pole last week for the first time. Could he get back-to-back poles after Ferrari went without a pole during Season 2? They had lots of them during Season 1. Are they returning to their Season 1 qualifying form? One more corner to navigate. Almost off the track, but he's okay. Deployment used across the line. He extends pole position by almost 2/10. We have a 6/10 margin at the top of our field. Alex Norris back to pole, provisional pole, twice in a row.
That's a good lap right there. That is a very solid lap. A 30, I think that was a 30.2 it said. Mighty impressive.
Yes.
As Leon overtakes me. Oh no. We're preparing our final laps here in the back, while letting the guys who are on their laps through. But right now, I think one of the big surprises that I saw just before I left the track, there's a Haas in the top 5. I believe that's Shorts.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. 10 places higher than team principal and Vade in that car. And almost an entire second gap. Neski up in the first sector. We have everyone inside the top 7 on a lap right now. 20 seconds remain. We're about to throw out the checkered flag. Is Neski up on the time, though? This could be a lap getting him to front row. Right now, he is up on the time. What's Fusion doing in the middle sector? He was down in the first sector, up in the second. So we still have drivers to go, drivers to figure out what they're going to do, and Invade just made the checkered flag right there. That was super close. We're now switching to the first car crossing the line and trying to find the time. Mythic, ERS already all used up. He finds time, but he does not gain any places. Further behind, we have Polish Hammer invalidating Alex Norris coming to the pit lane. Next up, Neski, who finished second in Bahrain last week. He's looking for a first pole. Is it going to happen tonight with McLaren? Only right behind his teammate, and a big slide from Fusion. He runs off, and that is going to prevent him from beating the own time he had. Max stays 17th. That was the Alpine crossing. We have next Spanglius 6th. Purple in the final sector there. Devin's next. What can Devin do? Zora goes 15th. Devin, I believe that's the checker flag for the V-Carb. F1 Shorts. Massive improvement there. 3rd place for him. That is incredible. I think that's the best qualifying for Haas if they just keep it. Valkyrie crosses and she goes front row. Embed next. The German driver stays put. Polish Hammer invalidated. Beatnik invalidated. Invade invalidated. A lot of invalidations. Leon Miner's done. And Noah Boy's done. It's going to be back-to-back weeks for Ferrari after not having a single pole during Season 2. That they get back-to-back poles this week in China. Season 1, they were on pole here, and Season 3, they're on pole here. Alex Norris. Back-to-back. And by the way, F1 Shorts there, up in 4th. They did qualify up there recently. It was Monza with Valkyrie that they had a really good qualifying effort, though. That was P4. They tie that effort tonight. Very good effort there from F1 Shorts, the youngest driver in the field. Valkyrie, though, in the front row in the Mercedes. After last week's amazing effort in the Williams. Great stuff to see.
Valk championship leader confirmed after this race.
5 different drivers.
Oh my goodness,
inside
that's
that top 5.
6/10. 6/10. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
That is
4 different drivers inside the top 4.
Gap.
It is. It's almost the largest pole margin in Tier 3. Alex Norris, Valkyrie, Fusion, F1 Shorts, and Neski's the top 5. Both McLarens up there. Timbed, Spangley, Polish, Beatnik, and Mythic roundouts to the top 10. Both Aston Martins up there. Devon's back there. He didn't get a lap in. Zora got up to 15th, so a good effort there after running behind. Hyper, who was very fast in Bahrain, 12th, and Invade 11th. And he won this race back in Season 1, Invade did, but that was with the largest margin of victory. Not going to see that tonight in the Haas.
Definitely not. I mean, we've seen crazy things before. I believe Haas won a Tier 2 race once, I think. I don't know if that stayed in the steward's office, but
It did not.
I think Shorts has the ability to do some great things in that Haas tonight. I've seen his time trial times. They're quick, but being fast in qualifying is one thing. Being a grid racer is a different ballgame.
To clarify, 4 different teams inside the top 4 are there. But anyway, 11th place to relocate the 11-second gap win I had, Invade says. Well, that's quite fitting. Beatnik, just let us know when we're counting down the timer here in a bit. We got to wait until the host gives us permission to ready up. If enough time has gone past, we should be all good. I just looked at Invade's screen. I do see that cloudy patch at the end.
Time started.
Yep, 20 seconds maybe, something like that.
Yeah,
Anyway,
20 seconds.
What do we expect in the start?
I think there's going to be a crash, and I think there's going to be a DNF. Who, I don't know, but I think we're going to see some calamity here at the start. It's Tier 3. You never know. Let's take this off.
Time for our second appearance in China. The lights are coming on in Shanghai to start round 2 of the season. Who's going to put the championship fight to McLaren tonight? Already a jump start from 2, 3, maybe 4 drivers. Lights out. Away we go. It was 4 drivers getting jump starts. Zora takes the lead because of it, and that's messed everyone up behind. Valkyrie to the net lead because of it. There's a car off there. That's Max who had the jump start. But there are 4 of them who went way too early, and that's trouble at the back of the field. That's Max around. I think Alistair also is trying to navigate his way through some cars, but Valkyrie is in between, Zora is in between Valkyrie and Alex Norris. Zora shoots one up the inside and hits Valkyrie right there.
Leon.
A lot of calamity at the back of the field, and we have multiple spins, multiple cars around. Timbed's one of them, Spangley's one of them, Alistair got collected as well.
I just hit someone.
Well, we have a lot of calamity at the back of the field. We already looked at our positions gained. Leon Miner up to 8th from 8 spots gained. Devon's up 7. Real Hyper's up 6. Zoro's up 11, but that's because the drive-thru, of course. No surprise there, but we now take you to the tires. Max the only one on the softs, and we still have Valkyrie in front, leading the Grand Prix, and now Zora around. Zora had the jump start and having more issues. So Valkyrie, who led because of the driver's jump starting, getting in the way there. Is she going to keep it now down to the hairpin? Looks like she will. A lot of crazy stuff going on there. And we're not even down to Sector 3. Or we are now. Neski on the inside of Polish. And Polish gets ahead. Gets back ahead of the McLaren. F1 Shorts getting...
Impressive stuff.
Leon who jump started. It was Leon, Zora, Noah Boy, and Max who all jump started. 4 drivers at the back of the field, all being distracted there from the get-go. 7 drivers inside the top 7, all in DRS pursuit of one another. And Alex Norris getting out of shape there, trying to overtake Valkyrie. Nick, you said you tapped someone at the start. Is that correct?
Yeah, there was a lot of small contacts, and Leon also had the armored set up going into turn 6. He just charged up the inside. I wish I clipped it.
Ooh.
Ding dong battle with Alistair here.
He went off the track, and he has to give up the place because of that. But let's find out. Since we already had drivers getting their elbows out lap 1, are we going to have that same thing happen down the back straight lap 2 with DRS enabled? Remember, that's the difference between F123 and F124. DRS enabled lap 2. Both Haas drivers still remain inside the top 10 after lap 2, sector 2. And Hyper went for a move on Neski and got it done right there for 5th place. Only holding on to it momentarily, though. And F1 Shorts fell back there at the start. I'm not sure what happened. We'll look at our biggest losers here in a moment. But for the lead, Valkyrie will keep it.
Good stuff up front so far. I can tell that is a very large DRS train. And we got all the stragglers in the back, myself included, after the calamity of lap 1. There was a lot going on at the start.
For the lead, Alex Norris is going to pass Valkyrie into turn 1 and take the lead. Behind that, Lyral Fusion and the DRS train was trying to maybe have a go at the Mercedes driver. Has to stay behind. We have Max come back to the pit lane here to change his tires. Maybe got a bit of front wing damage. I'm not sure what happened there. Now we have Polish Hammer on the back of Fusion in pursuit of him. Is he going to go for a move around the outside? He's thinking about it, and he'll stay behind. Polish Hammer, he needs this kind of start, and he got that kind of start that he needed. Good stuff right there from Polish Hammer. Meanwhile, I want to look at our biggest loser on the start. We have F1 Shorts and Mythic now trading places. Here we go. Devin as well. F1 Shorts is lagged out now. That's what's happened to him. Big trouble for F1 Shorts. That is very unfortunate. After the start he had, he was falling places, but this is going to cause even more trouble to his name. Oh, I do have him added. So,
very
yeah,
unfortunate for him there.
Devin's our biggest gainer, by the way. All good. Devin's our biggest gainer. Our biggest loser, besides the stragglers who jump-started, would be Timbed. 8 places lost, and that's more trouble. That is a Williams. That is Max into more issues. You were saying?
A lot of us in the back are having problems. Not too much going on. Obviously, at least at the back. I know a DRS train looks very spicy up front.
And it still might be spicy down to turn 1. Valkyrie still just behind there of Alex Norris. Keep pressing F2 instead of F1 here. But, nonetheless, we'll put you back on the tires then. There we go. And F1 Shorts does rejoin the session. And Veda's teammate is up in 7th. And he's doing all he needs to do if he wants to end tonight being the driver with the most amount of points in Tier 3. Timbed and JNR both are ahead now of F1 Shorts, who just joins back the session. And Leon Miner is our first driver in the penalty club.
Oh my goodness, already?
I know, it's lap 4. Lap 4, Alex Norris leads. Big wiggle. Big wiggle from the Ferrari. I think he's okay. He only lost a 10th from it, but that could be costly for a driver who maybe was looking to get out of DRS right there. F1 Shorts saying what happened to him on the start, Beatnik. His clutch failed.
Oh, I can relate to that problem.
Well, meanwhile, 3/10 the gap as we head to the hairpin. Valkyrie still behind Alex Norris. We've not had Valkyrie win an F1 cars yet. 3 wide into the hairpin. Look at this. Lyral Fusion on the farthest of the inside, getting ahead momentarily, but went a little too deep. Valkyrie takes back the lead of the race, and for 2nd place now, Lyral Fusion and Alex Norris make contact. Alex Norris off the road rejoins behind the McLaren. Polish Hammer in the mix, and he's saying, guys, I know last week I was in a bit of trouble, but you can give me a chance here, and he is getting the chance here to fight with his teammate and others. This is a great battle. 6 cars in the fight. Polish Hammer.
Great battle up front.
Around the outside of his teammate. Has to back off.
Great battle up front at the moment. Sounds clean. Sounds respectable. And I'm about to get sent up the inside. Good heavens.
Here we go. Alistair and Beatnik. 2 Tier 2 podium sitters right here in the past. Actually, if I'm correct, Beatnik, you have a podium at the circuit in Tier 2, I believe. It was a 1-2 in the Red Bull Academy with Jack.
Yeah, I finished P2 in the AlphaTauri that day. That was the day when I used to actually be fast. And
now you're
today,
getting overtaken.
It's a much different story.
Yeah. Well, we're going to see some DRS once again down the back straight on lap 5. Hyper is in the mix as well for the Alpine Academy. That's 3 Alpine/McLaren Academy cars in this fight. So really, they're setting themselves up quite well as an academy and as a team here to fight this season. Neski behind Polish now pulling out from the back. Here's Fusion as well pulling out. 2 cars all going for it, and Fusion's looped it. Fusion has looped it
Oh,
and
no.
gone sideways, and both McLarens have looped it in their pursuit to overtake both cars they were going for. Neski loses out to Alex Norris. Fusion loses out on the potential to take the lead. Alex Norris now going around the outside of the Brazilian driver and going to the lead. Now, we're going to see a fight to turn 2. Valkyrie has the inside line, which becomes the outside line, and she'll have to remain in second, but the McLaren shoots one up the inside right there. That's Fusion not going to give this fight up, and he'll get behind the Mercedes. Now, behind that, Hyper is trying to fight his teammate here. Academy teammate, Neski, and also Fusion still shooting one up the inside there, trying to find a way past and can't. Now, behind that for 7th, Invade is just holding on over Devin in the Red Bull, who starts on the hards, second highest driver on the hards.
Yeah, being up front on those hard tires is going to be important. The hard runners are going to be patiently waiting for maybe a potential late safety car that could bring them into it with some fresh mediums in the later stages of this race. Oh my goodness, Alistair.
We have a lot of contact going on up front, Beatnik. I think everyone is just being distracted and affected by the accordion effect here. I think Hyper ran in the back of Neski. Neski ran in the back of Polish. I don't see any damage, but that is something you have to be very mindful of. The DRS train right there, it can be an absolute mess. Hyper just weaving and bobbing behind his Academy team. I don't know if there's any lag there, but he pulled out trying not to run in the back of him. Devin gets ahead of Invade, and now Mythic is flirting with the back of the Haas here for P8.
Very interesting battling going on up there. Of course, the DRS range, as you said, will scrunch up that field even more with how this game works. So, it's all on the drivers here to make sure they don't make contact and cause an accident. These close quarters could make it really challenging.
Just remember, with Hyper being on the hards right there.
Penalty.
Yep, there you go. That's our second one. Just remember, with Hyper being on the hards up there at the front of our field, he is on the revert strategy. The revert strategy won out big in Tier 1 last week at Bahrain. We race here in China tomorrow for Tier 2 as well. So a lot of the Tier 2 drivers will be looking out for that. But we have an overtake for 5th and an overtake, I think, happening here for 15th. Hyper gets Neski, and Alistair does get ahead of Beatnik with damage.
Boy, braking does not work. My goodness.
That's in-plate damage on the right side of the Kicksauber. But, yeah, with Hyper on the revert strategy, he will have a better second stint compared to what these guys currently have in the first stint. So, look for him to cook up some magic. But, meanwhile, Fusion still behind Valkyrie. Polish still behind Fusion. Polish in the braking zone, staying behind. And Mythic getting ahead of Invade, getting the upper edge there for 8th. Not bad for Mythic. Great pace in the Aston Martin. I think this has been a good revival for him compared to what he did last season in the McLaren. Last season in the McLaren, not having great runs. But now, Neski is our first one to blink of our top guys. He's into the pits. Invade back up the inside of Mythic. He'll have to wait another day to go for that one. Day late, dollar short. Tim Bed ahead of Maddie for 10th. That's the last point spot, but that will become 11th when Neski does cycle out. Where he comes out, he's behind both you and Alistair there. That's the troubling part, Beatnik, when you're trying to be at the front of the field, but also pitting early to make that undercut on the other drivers. You don't want to come out in this kind of traffic, but I think the good thing for Neski, though, is he only has you two to navigate and not anybody else, because it's a clear track all the way to F1 Shorts, an 8-second gap.
His one problem, though, is me and Alistair have been fighting incredibly hard here these last couple laps. So he's going to have to battle for 2 hard battling drivers there. I'm sure he can do it, but it's going to take quite a bit. We don't want to give up his points.
And to answer the question in chat,
I wish.
It is early to pit. Here we go. Lyral Fusion is going for it ahead of Valkyrie. So Lyral Fusion rizzes his way past the Mercedes driver, but goes deep. And Valkyrie re-overtakes for 2nd, and Polish Hammer says, "Thank you very much. I'll do the same."
Oh, contact between Neski and Alistair. I'm watching that from behind me. They're very close together right now.
Ooh. Look at this. Alistair is still not done, I don't think. He wants to go for it in the braking zone, and he will. The Kicksauber has to be very careful with the damage he has. He hits the side of the McLaren. That McLaren trying to go for the undercut. His teammate following pursuit, but Alistair is fighting this very aggressively. Contact, banging wheels, and Neski will stay ahead, but that is very aggressive fighting there from the Kicksauber and the McLaren. At stake is very hungry for a spot to go again. We have contact.
Oh dear.
We're losing a lot of time here.
Remember the part where I said aggressive battling? I wasn't kidding.
You were not. And here comes his teammate, Lyro Fusion. Maybe to help out. Maybe also to help his own race here. He needs to really help his own race by getting close. Alistair going for a dive. Alistair getting very ambitious. Shoving the McLaren right to the curb and making him back out right there. Fusion says, yeah, I'll try to help you out here, because I don't know if you could do this by yourself. Maddie, the Academy teammate there, calls the yellow flags there out of turn 10. We have more yellow flags in turn 1. That is for, I believe, Noah Boy. For second place, up for grabs, Polish Hammer staying behind. Hyper, though, he's trying to get ambitious, and that Williams behind, as you see, already has been lapped. We have some DRS chicken now between Fusion and Alistair as we're getting to the third sector. Alistair, you said Beatnik not giving this up, and he still isn't.
Unfortunately, he's killed his race, and we got to stop her around out of, I think that's turn 10, and he's gotten going again.
At Zora. Timbed, Polish Hammer, they've been overtaken. Timbed went to the pits, but the Kicksauber is still fighting it. He's in the middle, 3 wide. Squeeze play move from Alistair. Is he going to pull this off? We'll find out. This is the problem you have when you try to undercut sometimes. You'll have drivers who are at the back of the field, battle this out aggressively, and Alistair really getting his elbows out here tonight.
Yeah, Alistair, he was battling me really aggressively too, so I'm not surprised he fought this one so hard, but I think the battling might have to come to an end soon, because it looks like they're both ahead.
Yep, Neski ahead of Alistair. Here comes Timbed and JNR out of the pits, and their worst nightmare is going to be that car in green.
Gee, remember what I said, Leon doesn't like the color green, and I think a lot of the rest of the field is starting to share that sentiment.
Yeah, if you weren't here with us last week after the event and the clip submissions, we had Leon and both Sauber's chance for any sort of good finish. That was right in front of you, Beatnik. That was submitted to the storage. That's why we said about halfway through the race, Beatnik gained those places randomly when we saw a change in order. Speaking of change in order, Real Hyper does overtake Valkyrie for second place in the race. Alex Norris still staying out. Hyper, Valkyrie, Polish is in though. This is not too early, but hopefully he can get himself out and not near where the McLarens were.
He's got a little ways to go before they get to me, but they're coming quickly. As I lock the rears, that's not ideal. I'm not going to give them too much.
Alistair around the outside of Timbed. Timbed is pitted already. Alistair has not. Alistair will concede the place. He was trying to have a go there at the hairpin, but it did not work out for him. Invade is in as well. And I'll tell you right now, he's actually jumped both McLarens because of all that battling. Look at what Alistair has done there for his Academy teammate and team principal. Is that maybe why he was fighting it so ambitiously?
That is entirely a possibility that I didn't think about.
Neither did I.
That's fantastic teamwork if that's the case. Speaking of teamwork, I should probably consider letting my team principal behind me through.
Yeah, remember Beatnik on loan on the Aston Martin team. Hunter Max getting the penalty there. Remember, he's a lap down. Leon Miner heads to the pit lane for the first time for new sets of tires. That is hard compound tires. Williams, who had a great result last week, they're running 19th and 20th this week. Luckily, Beatnik, Invade will get the DRS, but he'll have Fusion right behind, though. So, really, the driver in the Haas actually has a chance here maybe for a podium based on these circumstances. The only difference, though, is the fact that Alex Norris, Hyper, and Valkyrie still have yet to pit. Maddie gets overtaken by F1 Shorts, JNR ahead of Alistair, and now Invade ahead of Beatnik there as Beatnik just slots aside and lets him go.
Go on, Fade. Go on.
Well, we have F1 Shorts and Vade's teammate in the pit lane, Beatnik now. We're going to find out how hard he fights this. Here is Fusion fighting with Beatnik as we get the rundown to turn 1 here, side by side. Almost a little bit argy-bargy there. Beatnik maybe backing off, maybe not. Has the inside line for turn 1. Now outside for turn 2. A little bit of touching, a little bit of rubbing of the paint, but Fusion does clear him, but gets sideways on corner exit. You know who's got a great chance now, Beatnik? Polish Hammer. Beatnik now going back up the inside. Almost cutting the corner. He does. Oh, no.
That was fine while it lasted.
Yeah, Polish Hammer is far ahead of the McLarens, and this will be beneficial for his race. Just a week after talk of his seat maybe being under pressure, now we're looking at the pressure. Gonna get to him here because both McLarens are fast, but he's got his team principal who can help him out here. We saw a lot of times last season where the Ferrari Academy teammates were helping out Invade, but it was to no avail. Every single time, Austria being the occasion, Japan the other occasion, the Ferrari Academy teammates helped Invade, but it didn't work out in the end, whether it be due to Invade's own doing or not. We might be seeing the Ferrari Academy here finish 1-2 tonight as a possibility. We have contact now down to the hairpin. Fusion with Invade. Invade around the outside, having Fusion getting very ambitious there. That's Zora causing more yellow flags, also getting him part of the penalty club, but Invade has to back out, and he does. Spangly pits from the 12 up mediums. He'll be overtaken, but Polish Hammer's gap to Fusion for the net lead is still 4.5, and he's got a great chance to win this race. Alex Norris as well.
Well, I tried to help my team principal as much as I can. I've battled the McLarens, but I don't want to battle them too hard. I feel a little bit bad. I was way too argy with Fusion there, so I send sincere apologies to him if he goes back to stream. That was kind of naughty by me.
Nonetheless, I'll tell you right now, even if Alex Norris wins this race and Fusion does not, it does make the championship hunt very interesting later on this season. Now we have Maddie, an Alpine Academy car, in front of Polish, and they both go off! There's a collision there! Polish with damage! Maddie trying to defend, and out of turn 10, Polish Hammer's chance of a potential victory might be coming down, and might be going down the drain, because that Alpine Academy car trying to defend collided with the Ferrari, and that is an absolute disaster there. Alex Norris is in, but definitely going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. Wow.
That's the last thing Polish Hammer needs. He knows his seat is under threat here, and that is only going to hinder his chances at retaining that Ferrari seat. As F1 Shorts will be breathing down his neck. He's looking at his lips every time he hears that Polish Hammer had a moment.
Absolutely. We have Fusion just ahead of Invade right now, but where is Alex Norris going to blend in? He'll be ahead of Polish by 2 seconds, so if it weren't for that collision Polish Hammer just got into, Polish Hammer would have had the lead by almost a full DRS straight, I guess you could say, in a way. DRS gap there, a second it would have been between him and his teammate. Valkyrie Pitts comes out ahead of Maddie, and we have JNR, first retirement of the Grand Prix. He is out in the pit lane.
Unfortunate there. I don't really know what was going on with him, but skill issue, I guess.
Invade ahead of Maddie. Fusion and Invade have both got ahead of Maddie there. Only Maddie's second start, but he might be seeing a trip to the storage room after this event is over. Georgette Williams, welcome along. Previous Tier 3 champion back in Season 1.
George. We might have a battle for 10th about to kick off here.
You got that right. Neski and Timbed. One previous Merck Academy driver, the other a current Merck Academy driver. Neski finished second last week, getting his best career finish. We're going to see if he has a chance to do the same and replicate it. Right now, he's going to have to battle Timbed before getting there, and Timbed does get ahead, actually. Timbed, 2-lap fresher tires, getting the advantage.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you right now.
He's a quick man right now.
He really is the German driver. I'll tell you right now, Beatnik, Valkyrie behind Polish. Polish still having a good chance with that damage, though, trying to battle through it. But Valkyrie needs to get by Polish Hammer if she wants to have a chance to get Alex Norris for the victory, because Alex Norris soon will be long gone.
Yeah, it won't take long for Alex Norris to piss off into the distance, Max Verstappen style. That man's been mighty quick, so it's going to take everything out of Valk to make sure that doesn't happen.
Well, here we go. Valkyrie right behind Polish. And Polish with the damage, holding on for now. But really, it just seems like an everlasting battle to where it just won't work out. Spangley ahead of F1 Shorts because F1 Shorts has had more trouble. He is not having the day he would have wanted, especially after Bahrain where he had that great result. So we're going to find out how he is able to deal with it into the next Grand Prix at Baku, which could see some great results happen again. Zora into the pits, medium tires on his car, and Valkyrie behind Polish Hammer, but for how much longer? Will a Mercedes driver be looking to make a move here? No, she'll stay behind and wait another time to go for it. Mythic and Hyper are in from the 15-lap hards. We still have Devin yet to pit, the only one up in that top 7. Alex Norris, fastest lap. Valkyrie now on the move. She's going to try to have a go around the outside of Polish, and she makes the move happen. We also have Hyper blending in, which is going to be behind Invade here. But on fresher mediums, the same could be said about Mythic as well there, behind Neski.
Those fresh mediums are going to cause Mythic to absolutely soar through the low end of this field. Fresh mediums versus a couple lap hold hards. You're going to see him cut through these cars like butter. I think it's going to be some good action coming up here in the next couple laps.
Now, remember, with Polish Hammer having that damage, he's still holding onto the podium, but he's got a hungry pack of cars behind who could easily take it, and one is on better tires. Invade and Hyper, a little bit of lag going on there. I think Invade is going to be behind Fusion, and Polish Hammer, Fusion, they are lagging out. Have I lagged out?
Did I just lag out?
We have 3 cars lag out now.
I thought I just lagged out for a second.
I thought I did too. That's Maddie lagging out. That's Invade lagging out, I believe. No, it's Polish Hammer.
First I thought it was
Maddie.
3 cars DNFing.
That's 3 cars that have just lagged out right there. That is super huge to this race. Devin, by the way, is in. He's on medium tires, and he'll be trying to go for what could be a potential podium here in the Red Bull on the better strategy. Fusion's back in. That's costly, and that's actually helping Invade here. Polish lost out. Hyper is ahead of Invade now. That's for the podium place. It's an Alpine versus a Haas racing for the podium, and I can tell you right now, these are the only 2 Tier 3 teams yet to have a podium in this tier. Could very well happen tonight. Especially after Polish lagged out, Fusion lagged out, and then there's one more. Maddie. Maddie was the other one. Maddie got pitted by the game, and so did Fusion. Oh, no.
I was going to say. That's what I was going to say. Fusion pitted because of his AI, and so did Maddie. We got huge implications in this race.
And you know who's taking advantage of this? The Aston Martin of Mythic. Up a place on Neski, and now getting through the ghosted car of Polish Hammer.
My goodness, it's all coming up Aston Martin today. Not this Aston Martin. It's the reincarnation of Season 9 Texas. We don't talk about that Grand Prix.
I can tell you right now, although it's the Mercedes Academy still with what you just said, the Mercedes cars have to be happy with what they're doing. Tim Bed's 6th, Valkyrie 2nd right now. Here's Devin on the move and trying to get ahead of Invade. If Invade has these 2 in front, mess around and see themselves crash into one another, collide, he could be on for a podium for the Haas team. But the Alpine have never had any in Tier 3. Mythic ahead of Tim Bed, and Mythic is on the charge here. This is great stuff from Mythic, who should have really had the podium last week in Bahrain. Hyper fastest lap, and Polish Hammer's lagged out again. This is the 3rd time we've seen this driver have connection issues in the last 12 races. And every single one of them have costed them big time. because he was running in a good spot.
And Polish only has one glimpse of hope, and it's that his AI hasn't pitted him as I go by it right now.
And I'm surprised that hasn't
I'd
happened,
rather just
Nick,
be
because
slow.
his car is damaged.
Does it?
Yes, it does. He has end plate damage because of the incident with Maddie.
Oh, damn. I think it's because his tires are only 7 laps old, and like he's done his medium hard strategy. And
Well,
I guess the game says it's
Fusion.
not sufficient enough.
Yeah, I wonder what the thing was with Fusion, then that pitted him, and same with Maddie, who also lagged out. Spangley ahead of Polish there for the last point spot. Beatnik, you're looking quite well with where you're running right now, I have to say, based on what had happened there. 3 cars all lagging out at once, and Leon Miner into the pit lane wall. Out! Safety car deployed. Oh, we have damage! We have massive damage! The Alpine of Hyper has just ran into, I believe, a lap car! That's Noah Boy!
Oh, no.
Oh my word! That's the second week running where we have a safety car deployed and it costs Hyper. We have Max at the back of the field, the other Williams, in trouble because of a drive-through, and now Invades out of the Grand Prix.
I just got lagged out.
I did too. Is this the Qatar glitch where the race has to end early? What has happened here? We had a race in Qatar last season where we ended early. Leon Miner's back streaming, but I don't know what the case is there.
Season 5. I don't know. France Season 5 flashbacks for me.
This is an absolute mess here, the glitch we're seeing. I'm going to need to invite back to the session. We're going to find out what's happening.
I'm stuck in this screen here. I'm stuck in a screen. I can't go anywhere.
We're having a lobby restart, I think. We're going to say new lobby. We're from Egg's point of view, new lobby. Join off of him. George wants me to end the stream for a grid check, but I'm going to clip the last 60 seconds to give him the grid.
Oh, no.
So
is this going to be a 25% race?
Yeah, I think it is. We're seeing a very unprecedented thing happen here, which we have happened, I think, once before this season. But EA, Cody's, it seems like every time you fix your game, you crash it even more. So please fix this. This is unacceptable.
Oh my gosh.
This is an absolute disaster.
I haven't seen this happen in so long. It's been so long since I've seen that.
You said we had France Season 5 Tier 1 happen with this. I mean...
Yeah, had a very similar thing, but we already had one restart prior, so we made the decision to end the race right then and there. Which...
You gotta watch back Qatar last season.
What decision
round
we're
2.
gonna make.
It seems to be round 2 or early in the season. Lobby crashed. We ended the Grand Prix early and half points were awarded. But we're actually restarting the event here and getting the grid. I'll tell you what the grid was right as that safety car had been deployed here. So what
George
happened
said
there?
He needs lap 16.
What?
George just put in chat he needs lap 16.
Okay, so we're gonna have to end the stream and then start again, I think.
Yeah.
That's very unfortunate.
I believe so.
I'll tell you what happened under that safety car though, because I'm gonna guarantee you right now, we're gonna see that submitted. So we had Noah Boy, a lap car, in front of the Williams, basically stopped trying to get out of the way. But the problem is the game unghosts lap cars as soon as the safety car is out, which is what happened there, causing the Alpine to take damage. We're gonna give you a stream restart here because of the lobby restart, and we are gonna have to end the stream here to get the grid. So stay with us. We'll be back here in about 30 seconds, and we'll get this version of part 1 of the Chinese Grand Prix uploaded to YouTube while we do that.